Have you wondered about living elsewhere after you retire? Well, we have, almost daily. As you know, it's not an overnight decision. Hi, this is Gil
and Gene
of Retire There, a podcast about places to consider living in during your retirement. We started this show for selfish reasons. We will be retiring in the next few years, but we're not sure where. Then a light bulb went off in Gene's head. He asked, what are others doing? With so many baby boomers retiring, there must be many relocating. Let's connect with them and pick their brains. But first, a little background about us. I'm Asian, born in Brazil, and raised in Brooklyn. I'm an engineer turned attorney and practicing higher ed law at a college, and I love working with students, faculty, and staff. And now, I'm a podcaster.
All right. I'm not Asian. Born and raised in Long Island, New York, a place I've always wanted to leave. I'm a law librarian working in a court who loves his job. We've lived in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, New York for many years and have been thinking about our future home.
So we will be speaking to folks from around the world who have moved to venues of their dreams and more. And we will share their intimate secrets.
Whoa!
Just kidding. We will offer information you may not find anywhere else, though. So stay tuned. Hola! Guess where we're headed today? Yucatan, Mexico. Gene, this is our third Retire Abroad episode.
No.
Yeah, isn't it great? It appears about 1.5 million U.S. expats live in Mexico, and depending on the source, one can retire comfortably with $26,000 a year or less. So a little background. Rob was born in Montreal, Canada. By first grade, his family had moved to the United States and settled in New York City. Rob attended Brooklyn Tech High School in Brooklyn, New York. Go Tech Knights! And earned a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering and computer science from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York.
Upon graduation, Rob moved to Allentown, Pennsylvania, and went to work doing process design and computer process control for air products and chemicals. He then got an MBA from Lehigh University and married Nancy Levin. Rob and Nancy moved to New Jersey to start a family, and Rob worked for Airco Gases, which became BOC Group and is now part of Lind. Rob's work focus changed from chemical engineering to operations research and business systems development. The family then moved back to Allentown, Pennsylvania after the birth of their second child. In 2000, Rob left his employer to work in consulting and e-commerce. In 2011, Rob left his stable job for the adventures of joining a tech startup, which was followed by another startup based in Portland, Oregon. Why didn't you stay there? So nice. At that point, Rob and his new spouse, Roy Bickford, moved to Portland. With the failure of the second startup in 2016, Rob and Roy decided to retire. As they were both relatively young to retire, they moved to Yucatan, Mexico, for its low cost of living. For entertainment, they opened a small bed and breakfast and pursued a passion for travel.
So a little bit about Roy. Born and raised and attended college in Florida. In fact, he was a football star in high school. He then later attended seminary school and became a pastor. He also taught elementary school, mostly 5th and 6th grade. He eventually moved to Virginia and also had 5 children, and then finally to Philadelphia. He was a teacher for most of that time. And then Roy divorced. And guess what? He met up with Rob in Philadelphia. In fact, it was Roy's idea about the B&B. Good for you guys. Okay, Rob, a little nostalgia. So I was on the cheering squad back in the day. Do you know what our mascot is?
Oh, no, I don't remember. I can sort of hazily visualize it, but unfortunately.
Okay, so it's an odd one. It's not an animal.
Isn't it?
No.
Engineer with
yes, it's an engineer.
Yeah.
It's an engineer with, what is that thing called? The megaphone.
Okay.
All right. I know. What can I say? So thank you for joining us today. And I understand Roy is preoccupied with something else. So we're going to have you for the next hour, we hope. And tell us, how did you and Roy decide to retire in Mexico? Can you walk us through your journey?
Sure. It actually started while we were in Oregon. We went to visit one of Roy's relatives, a sister-in-law of his, who is telling us that when she would retire, she was going to move to Belize because you could buy a house on the water in Belize for $50,000 and you could live on $800 a month. And it was super cheap and everything was super wonderful. Roy and I looked at each other and said, wow, that's pretty impressive. That's very enticing. Of course, looking into it further, we found out that that really wasn't the case. Yes, you could buy a shack on the beach for that price. And yes, you could live for $800 a month, but it was very unsafe. The cost to fly into and out of Belize City was extremely high. So we just sort of put that in the back of our heads and said, all right, well, yeah, this is an interesting data point. When I lost my job, when the second startup failed and I was 55, 56 and needed to find another job in the tech field. On the West Coast at that age in tech, it's very hard to find a job. Even when I was in that last position, my staff thought I was over the hill to begin with. The average age of my staff at the startup was
12.
Oh, I'd say 25.
Okay. I would have guessed 13.
That's how they acted. No, but they were in their late 20s for the most part. And when I was a young engineer, when I first got out of school, I remember thinking about the older generation the same way. So I can't really blame them, okay. I was at taking a management information systems course at Lehigh. My professor was the CIO of IT at Bethlehem Steel.
Wow.
And when he was lecturing, I was like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
No way.
So I could see how my staff thought I was over the hill and, didn't know what bad ideas and all that sort of stuff. Oh my God.
That's a huge corporation. I remember Beth.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it was then. Anyway, so we both decided to exit the rat race, and retire. It was at that point that, that discussion we had about Belize came, back into our minds. And we're like, well, maybe Belize isn't an answer, but maybe there is an answer in, Latin America. So we started researching to see what was around. One of our criteria was low cost of travel. Between us, we had 7 kids. We expected to be traveling back, us traveling back and forth to see the kids or paying for the kids to come down. So we wanted inexpensive airfare. And we came across that Cancun, like Las Vegas, has very inexpensive airfare because the resorts subsidize a lot of, they're trying to get people to come down there. So Cancun had incredibly low airfare. So I said, okay, go online and let's look what's driving distance from Cancun. While Cancun is beautiful and all that, it is a resort. It is kind of expensive. We're looking driving distance, and that's how we came upon the area that we currently moved to, Chelem. Chelem is 3.5 hours, 4 hours, 3.5 hours if you drive really fast from the Cancun airport. And, a reasonable drive. We could buy a house here very inexpensively, right on the water. And the cost of living was very low.
What's very inexpensive for a house?
All right. So to give you an idea, very good friends of ours down the street bought a waterfront lot right on the water, built a brand new house from scratch on that lot for $168,000.
No, for everything?
Everything, soup to nuts. They have a pool, 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath, gorgeous lot, palm trees lining the driveway.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. So that gives you an idea. Granted, over the past 4 years, prices have gone up. We also paid more for our place, primarily because we decided we wanted to run a bed and breakfast. So we needed something that was more suitable for a bed and breakfast.
To house the 7 kids.
No.
No. We actually had a room that we allocated to friends and family. So even if the bed and breakfast would be full, we'd always have room for at least 2 of the kids to come down at any time.
Good.
And how many rooms are you in the bed and breakfast?
So the house we bought has 6 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay. We originally had 4 bedrooms that we would rent out, 1 bedroom for ourselves, and then the friends and family bedroom. We actually, at the start of COVID or right before COVID, cannibalized one of the bedrooms because it was the smallest. We didn't rent it out very often. We cannibalized that bedroom and turned it into a home gym.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So we basically have a complete resort here. We have the home gym. We have a pool. We have a jacuzzi.
Wow.
Oceanfront. Everything you can ask for.
Okay. Can we make a reservation for summer 2021?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, should I do a plug for the?
Yes. Yeah. Do a plug.
Oh,
do
absolutely.
A plug. Absolutely.
We'll put that in the show notes.
It's called Bears on La Playa, and that's the website is bearsonlaplaya.com. On La Playa is Spanish, so it's Spanglish. Bears in English, and then on La ENLA Playa.
We'll put that in the show notes so people can see.
There's our logo.
Oh wow!
Oh, I love it. I wish our audience could see that. That is
funny.
So cool. The last time we were in your area or your neck of the woods was about maybe 2-3 years ago. We stayed at Barcelo Riviera Maya. I remember the trip because I wound up going to the hospital because I slipped while coming down these cement stairs.
Yeah, she was walking down the steps and she went flying and she banged into the wall really hard. I thought it was really bad, but it wasn't. It was bad, but it wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was.
What a way to travel.
But
okay, so back to not good.
Just one bit of follow up on that. The Yucatan is like a triangular peninsula. Riviera Maya and even Cancun is on the Caribbean side. Okay, so that's on the south part. We're on the north part. We're on the Gulf side. Our beaches and our water look a lot different than what you see in the Caribbean or Riviera Maya or Tulum or any of those places.
Can you tell us how are the regulations and is building a home, especially on the waterfront side, is that highly regulated? Are there any concerns with, storms or that kind of thing?
That's an interesting question. There are regulations. This being Mexico, there's way to skirt the regulations if you really want to. Over the 4 years that we've been here, some of the regulations have been, the government has been cracking down on some of the regulations and making them stricter. One of the regulations is how far back from the water you can build. When we moved here, you could build your house right touching the water.
Oh my God.
Not a smart idea, but yes, you could do that.
Oh my goodness.
2 years later, they said you have to be 20 meters, 60 feet back. Now it's 60 meters, 120 feet back. So they're trying to get people not to build so close to the water. But again, this being Mexico, if there's a house already on the property, it's grandfathered.
Grandfather, yeah.
So you can literally tear down the house to the foundation and build whatever you want.
Oh my goodness.
Right on the water.
Imagine trying to
That's
do that
ridiculous.
Yeah. They, again, it's Mexico. That's about the only real regulations they have. Everything else is haphazard. You can do what you want.
And insurance? You can get a lot of insurance?
You can get insurance. Interestingly enough, again, Mexico, very interesting. We bought homeowners insurance with hurricane insurance, okay? And the insurance agent was fine, no problem. I'll sell it to you. But if the insurance company finds out you don't have a seawall, they won't pay you. They'll take your money for the insurance.
Oh my goodness.
If you don't have a seawall, they won't pay you. And by the way, a seawall is probably not what you think it is. It's basically a cement foundation that goes down 9 feet into the ground, sort of create a wall in front of your structure so the water can't come underneath your structure and wash it out.
Yeah.
Okay, it's there. So a lot of times you can have a seawall and never even see it because it's totally underground.
Okay.
And in our area, there are other, we have what's called an espalon. It's these wooden sticks that go out into the water and filled with rocks to break the waves and keep the sand in and build out our beachfront.
Mm-hmm.
So our beachfront, actually, we fixed our espalon when we moved in here, and our beachfront has grown by about 15 feet.
Wow, that's
from the time we moved in here.
Wow, that's interesting. So did you guys think about healthcare and, obviously all those things? We know the answer to weather, I think, for the most part. Many people have traveled to Mexico, but share with us those pieces.
Okay, so we did look into healthcare. Being in our late 50s, it's something you have to think about. There are world-class hospitals nearby. Okay, so we live, like I said, it's a small fishing village called Chelem. 30 minutes south of us is a major city called Merida, city of about 1 million people. Merida has a couple dozen hospitals, and they range from what you would consider a welfare hospital in the States to a, NYU Langone or type of hospital. All right. The top hospital is Star Medica, and they just built a new one called Faro. You get excellent medical care here. The doctors, for the most part, especially on the higher end, speak English. They a lot of times go to conferences in the States. Some have even been trained in the States. Before we got here, we found that the care here was excellent. When we got here, Roy had hip problems when we moved down here. We immediately signed up for insurance, even though a lot of people don't, but we did. There was a 1-year waiting period for pre-existing conditions on the hip. So literally a year after we had signed up for health insurance, Roy got a hip replacement done.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
All right, good timing.
Yeah. Well, no, we knew we were going to do it.
Yeah.
The surgeon, it was the same techniques, prosthesis, the what goes in the hip and that they use in the States.
Yeah.
Actually comes from the States. The operating room and everything was brand spanking new. The surgeon spoke English. He did an excellent job. And it in a lot of senses, it's like medicine maybe in the 50s and 60s in the States, because after the surgery, he stayed in the hospital for a few days in private room and all that, more like a hotel room than a hospital room.
Wow.
And then I came back home, and like 4 days later, 5 days later, it was time to change the bandages. The surgeon came up to us. He drove 30 kilometers to our house to change Roy's bandages. Okay.
That's wonderful.
Because we had insurance, that cost us $1,000, the whole thing.
Oh, the whole
That's
thing.
incredible.
Wow.
That was the whole thing. If we didn't have insurance, and now this is the amazing part, if we did not have insurance,
Yes.
it would have cost $8,000.
Oh,
That's all?
That's all. That's why a lot of people here might not have insurance. So in the States, we looked it up, and it would have cost about $30,000
Yeah.
to have
Yeah,
a hip
at
replacement done.
oh my.
And with the insurance we had when we were in the States, after the second startup failure, we would have had to pay $6,000 out of pocket.
Wow.
Wow. Interesting.
So that gives you an idea of the quality of healthcare here.
It's interesting. When we were in Riviera Maya and Gillen hurt her shoulder in the hotel, they sent us to what I describe as a mini hospital. Sort of a little,
like an urgent care, but with
more than urgent care. It
more
was
than
sort of a
urgent
mini
care.
hospital, but and it was very good. The doctor was good, and the doctor spoke English. It seemed like most of the patients there were either tourists or expats.
As I said, there's several levels of hospital here. And let me talk about that $8,000 hip replacement, that if we had to pay it out of pocket. $8,000 translates into 160,000 pesos. Okay?
Right.
A typical worker here makes 350 pesos a day. So paying 160,000 pesos is a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, a local could not afford that.
Right.
Man.
So the local would go to welfare hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two levels. There's two levels of, there's, state healthcare here. Mexico has state healthcare. Everyone is covered. The lowest level is Seguro Popular, which is totally free. Anyone can get it. You just show up, you get serviced. Quality, not so good.
But you get service, so
you get service. You will get service eventually. The next level up is IMSS, which is sort of like, think of it like universal health insurance. Okay, so every employer has to pay into, for every employee, IMSS. So it's a step up, and slightly better quality doctors, slightly better quality service. And the private tends to be wealthy Mexicans and expats. Because for us, it doesn't, our healthcare insurance when we moved down here was $1,200 per year, which for us is nothing, right?
That's
But
again,
for a Mexican, it's like 26,000 pesos a year. And this is when you're only paying, so what let's say 24,000 pesos a year. So it's 2,000 pesos a month when you only make 350 pesos a day.
Yeah.
It's expensive for them.
Yeah.
So that's why when you went to that emergent care, or, it was a private hospital, and that's why you saw pretty much expats there.
The other interesting thing about when Gillen was injured was that after we left the medical facility, we had to go to a pharmacy, and the pharmacy wasn't like a Rite Aid or a CVS. It was this little shop, and all it had was prescriptions. It didn't have, you couldn't buy soap there or anything. It was this little tiny place. I remember it was late at night, and they were open. And I walk in, and the guy says, "May I help you?" And I gave him the prescription. He gave it back to me. I paid him, and that was it. But it was just a little tiny place. It was very interesting.
That's the norm here. They're all chains. The pharmacies are all chains. So that little 10-foot by 20-foot store was probably part of a chain of pharmacies.
Oh, wow.
And there's quite a number of different chains. But yes, they're all small. They primarily carry just medicine. They might have a few extra things like Pedialyte or diapers or something like that, 2 or 3 packages of it. But for the most part, it's just literally a drugstore. not a pharmacy, a drugstore.
Right.
Okay.
And the other thing that you probably didn't realize is you didn't need a prescription to buy those drugs.
Is that right?
You don't need prescription. Yeah. There are very few items in Mexico that you need a prescription for. So, for example, I have high blood pressure, high cholesterol. So I take blood pressure medicine. I take cholesterol medicine. I even have irregular heartbeat. So I take a medicine for that.
Mm-hmm.
All those medicines, I just walk into the pharmacy and I say, okay, I need a bottle of lisinopril. I need a bottle of Lipitor. I need a bottle of this. That's it.
What?
But is that covered by your insurance?
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay.
The insurance doesn't cover medicines here that you buy at the pharmacy, but they're dirt cheap. We pay about the same as what we paid in copay in the States when we would buy what's it called, medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like the lisinopril copay in the States is about $3 per month. And that's what we pay here. We pay about $2 per month for lisinopril without copay. It's the full price of the medicine.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example. Three of Roy's daughters have asthma. They need an inhaler, albuterol inhaler.
Yeah, yeah.
In the States, without insurance, it costs $300 for a single inhaler.
Wow.
Here, it costs $4 for a single inhaler. No insurance, nothing. You just go in and say, I need albuterol. They give you the box, and it's $4.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. What an industry in the US. What an industry. Yeah.
So.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I when I hurt myself, I had to take Mobic, it's very strong. It's like ibuprofen, but like 8 times its strength. And I paid 8 cents at Walgreens. 8 cents. I mean, but I know the cost of it otherwise, but it might be just,
It's probably $4 in Mexico.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go down there.
Well, $4 for a bottle, a bottle of 100 or something. Realize,
okay.
It's not per pill $4.
Right.
It's a month's supply or something.
Right. So let's move to cost of living and things like that. Can you tell us the other factors that were part of your decision-making process in moving abroad?
Well, cost of living was the number one, factor. We wanted to make sure we could live because we were pre-retirement age, weren't getting Social Security or anything. We had some investments in the States. We wanted to make sure we could live off of the income from the investments we had in the States. Okay. And we didn't want to we were too young to touch our IRA or anything like that. So we had some real estate in the States. They were rental properties. We had 3 rental properties in the States. And we just wanted to make sure that from the rent we were getting off those properties, we could live a good life here in Mexico. So when we came down here and, we started talking to people and the realtor, we sat down with the realtor and we had her give us a spreadsheet with what her monthly budget was. And, they were living on a little over $1,000 a month. Okay.
Wow.
That included food, electricity, gas, everything, insurance.
Wow.
The whole thing, soup to nuts for $1,000 a month.
Wow.
Granted, they lived very frugally, but let me give you an idea. So we have high-speed fiber internet here. We pay, so this is the top end. So we pay $25 a month.
What?
For our internet service.
Oh my goodness, we're jealous
All
now.
Right. Because it's warm here, we don't use much gas. We use gas, to cook, and we use gas to heat, so it's negligible. Our water bill is $60 a year.
Whoa.
Wow.
Food costs here are like it's really inexpensive. It's like You can buy an apple for like about 4 cents or
Oh,
a lemon for about the same price. Produce is, you're talking pennies.
Yeah.
You're in a little town. Do you have a supermarket?
I wouldn't call it a supermarket. We have a little market. So it's about, it has eggs, it has milk, it has, pasta, it has oil, it has the basic necessities, toilet paper and all that sort of stuff. But it's very small, it's like a corner store. The closest supermarket to us is in the next town over called Progresso, which is 10 kilometers away, 6 miles away. And there are actually 3 supermarkets in that store. A mid-size one that's like D'Angelo's in Manhattan.
In Manhattan, yeah.
There's a larger one that's more like, Key Food or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if you still have Key Food there.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Like a Key Food. And then there's an even larger one, but that's more like a Walmart type of thing. It's actually owned by Walmart. But it's not. It's Aurora Bodega Aurora, and that will have a fairly large produce section, food, but they also sell clothing and appliances and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So you must have a car.
We do. Oh, well, hold on. Now I remember what I wanted to go. But let's go back to the grocery store. Then if we drive into Merida, which is 30 miles away, we have Costco there.
Ooh.
We have a supermarket chain called Chedraui. And Chedraui is like, I don't know if you have Wegmans where you are.
I love Wegmans.
It's like a Wegmans.
Finally got one last year.
Wow.
So it's like Wegmans.
Love
okay.
Wegmans.
They have specialized foods, and it's a regular full-sized American supermarket. Now, getting back to, yes, we do have a car. We don't need a car. The locals, for the most part, just use the public transportation. We're lazy. We like our air conditioning, and we don't like the public transportation.
Yeah.
So from our house, we walk 3 blocks to the main road. There's what's called a collectivo. It's like a 15-passenger van that goes up and down the street, and it stops, you just flag it down almost like a taxi. And that will take you into Progresso, straight to the grocery store.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. And then you can take it back out of Progresso into back home. And the collectivos charge, I think, 10 pesos, 50 cents.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
For the trip. From Progresso, you can then switch to a bus that will take you down to Merida. That's probably 20 pesos. So you pay $1 for that. And that will take you to the Chedraui or the Merida or all that. There's still a bit of walking, and it's hot here in the sun, not the most pleasant thing, but you can get by without a car. And in the local village we're in, just within the village, they have what we affectionately call them tuk-tuks. They're little bicycle type things with a motorcycle on the back end that push a little cart in the front. You sit in the cart in the front, and they'll drive you around town anywhere you want to go.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, nice.
For a few pesos. So yeah, there's plenty of infrastructure. Let me go back to transportation. Let me go back to cost of living. We have a 6-bedroom, right? 7 bathroom house right on the beach. Our property taxes are $350 a year.
Oh my goodness!
Lord, nice.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I was going to ask about taxes. Yeah.
Our car insurance is $600 a year.
Oh,
we have a new car. Okay, a Kia Sportage.
Oh, nice.
So the cost of living is very low.
If I wanted to just give up cooking, could I eat out every night and on a couple of pesos a night, you think?
So in the village we live in, the short answer is yes, The long answer is you wouldn't want to. Where we live. The reason being is there isn't a wide variety of food where we live. Like I said, it's a fishing village. Almost there are two types of restaurants in the fishing village. There are expat village restaurants, and then there are local restaurants. Expat restaurants are run by expats, and they will serve more Americanized foods
and charge.
The local restaurants tend to serve basically identical fare, so identical that the menu is actually painted on the wall of each restaurant, and it's the same menu in each restaurant. It's basically, a fish fillet cooked in 5 different ways, shrimp cooked in 5 different ways, octopus cooked in 5 different ways.
I'm there. And
then they have what they call shrimp cocktail, which is nothing what you'd consider shrimp cocktail in the States. Yes, you can eat like that. So at a Mexican place, let's say you get pescado empanizado, which is fried fish. It's a big platter with fish, a piece of fried fish, rice, vegetables. That's about it. And it'll cost about 80 pesos, 100 pesos now, so $5.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Wait,
and it's delicious. Absolutely delicious.
Oh, okay.
A Coke will cost you, or a beer will cost you, a Coke costs 25 pesos, a little over $1. A beer costs 35 pesos, a little under $2. And it all comes with free appetizers. So before the meal, they bring you plates of ceviche, chips, refried beans, all that sort of stuff. So yes, you can eat like that. You'll get tired of it. In Merida, in the city, there's a lot more restaurants, and they go much higher end. We have the American chains. We have Burger King and McDonald's and stuff, but we also have Texas Roadhouse, Chili's, Fridays, and then we have steakhouses, and we have Brazilian steakhouses, and we have Argentinian steakhouses. The Brazilian steakhouse in Manhattan on like 65th Street or something.
Churrascaria.
Yes. That's like $75 a person, I believe, right now. Here it's 300 pesos per person. Okay. So it's $15 per person.
Wow.
Okay.
It's amazing.
And you can get pretty much any type of food here in Merida.
And how far is Merida again from you?
It's the north part of the city is 30 kilometers from us. So it's 18 miles.
So it's not like, right around the corner. Right. Got it.
Well, we, there's a highway between us and them. Mm-hmm. It takes us about 20 minutes to get into town.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Right. The traffic's not the same as here.
Yeah, exactly. So, we will go in there for dinner on a routine basis.
Sure.
Sometimes we go in twice a day because, we forgot something and we have to go back. We try to avoid that, but we'll do that.
Yeah.
All right. So you answered the question. I can definitely give up cooking. First of all, I can live on fish. I mean, I love seafood. Maybe not every day, but you can certainly buy fish locally, right? And then cook it.
Yes, you can. Okay. Not only can you buy fish locally, they come to your house.
Wow.
So like a minimum delivery, $10
No. A guy will come to your house, ring your doorbell, and say, "Do you want to buy fish? I have lobster tail. I have shrimp. I have grouper. I have whatever."
That's so funny.
That is so great.
Just pick what you want.
See, I mean, you can have great health if you eat fish. Mediterranean diet. There you go. Okay.
I have a question. How you landed in Chelem? How do you say it?
Chelem.
Yes.
Why Chelem? It's a small town fishing village.
Because it's closest to
has
Philadelphia.
Some restaurants.
No. The reason we picked Chelem was I went online and I went on to online real estate, and I started looking at houses. And we found houses in this area for basically, that we could turn into a bed and breakfast. starting at $180,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it went up from there, but the
Right.
high end was like 250,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we came down here, we said, well, we don't know much about Mexico. It's, we hear all these horrible things about cartels and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure we're not blowing our retirement savings and everything on a house. So we're wanted to spend $200. Basically, was our max budget. We went over, but we want a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom house where we could rent out 2 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't want to spend more than $200,000 on it. And we found that in this area. We ended up buying a bigger house, figuring, again, with the spreadsheet that, okay, the money we'll make will more than cover the extra investment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly how we found this area. It was like literally on Google Maps, draw a circle,
Yeah.
4 hours or whatever, 3.5 hours from Cancun.
Mm-hmm.
And then looked at prices along the waterfront. We only looked along the waterfront.
Wow.
Didn't look at anywhere else.
And do you get a lot of tourists that come there, the town?
We do. More come to Merida than to the beaches, because the beaches aren't that well known. The Americans who come down, or Canadians who come down to the beaches, tend to come to the Caribbean side, because like you went to Riviera Maya. But there is a large expat population here. There's a large snowbird population here. And yeah, we do get a fair amount of tourists that come down. Typically they come, they find Merida, and then they say, oh, well, we want to stay by the beach. What's close to Merida on the beach? Okay. And that's the sort of tourists we get.
So
Okay.
I have a couple of big questions. First of all, do you guys know Spanish? Do you have to learn Spanish? I mean, you're in kind of the touristy part. How much Spanish does one need?
Roy doesn't speak a word of Spanish.
Still?
And he still insists on, when he asks for salt, saying, can I have some salt? and the Spanish word for salt is sal.
Yeah,
it's not that different.
I know.
Okay, but he'll still say salt, please, or salt, por favor.
Okay, there you go. 2 words.
So yeah, you can get, for the most part, you can get around without Spanish. There's Google Translate.
Yeah.
If we're talking to someone and who doesn't speak English and we can't get it across with sign language or whatever, we'll each whip out our phones, pull up Google Translate.
Yeah,
I tend to type it in. Roy is too lazy to type it in. He just speaks into the phone and then shows the phone to the other person. The other person then speaks into the phone, and Roy looks at the phone.
Oh my goodness!
And we get by that way.
So how much Spanish do you know?
Well, I knew zero Spanish before I got here.
You didn't take Spanish at Tech?
No, I took French.
Oh, of course you did.
and actually, that was the hardest part when I got here. Spanish and French have a lot of similarities, and I wanted to always respond or say something in using the French words instead of the Spanish word.
Sure, yes.
Right.
So it took me a long time to get my brain to shift from French to Spanish. I can get by in Spanish, it's like a second grader talking English or something. I don't use the right pronouns and tenses and all that sort of stuff, but I can get my point across, and I can understand for the most part what people are talking.
Yeah.
The only area that's a real problem, and it's a very big problem, is on the phone.
Oh.
If I'm talking to someone face to face, their facial expressions, the body language, I can understand what they're saying. If it's over the phone, for the most part, I have no idea what they're saying.
Oh my God. Imagine trying to communicate about internet, band on the phone with someone.
So, because that's an issue, but almost every business here, every doctor has WhatsApp. Okay. It's a messaging.
Yes, yeah, we have
use
it. We have it.
We
Yeah.
use it too.
And so you just WhatsApp. Someone will call me and go, lo siento, no comprende, por favor, WhatsApp.
That's nice.
Sí, no problema. Click. And then they
Yeah.
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
You know, they WhatsApp it in Spanish. I can, from reading it, I might understand, or I just translate it. And then I use Google Translate to translate the response back to them.
Well, that's very nice that you say lo siento. I mean, I have to, do you know what that is, Gene?
Thank you, right?
No, lo siento.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lo siento, you would have to know because
my 2
you
years of
always
Spanish
need
didn't pay much. Yes.
Okay. Donde es? Okay. You know, I took 3.5 years of Spanish, and I could not, for the life of me, get the French accent properly. So, you know, it's a good thing you started with that, because I think Spanish is easier than French. Maybe it's my accent, or
But you took
whatever.
French or Spanish?
No, I took Spanish, but I tried to learn French for years, and I didn't do an intense course, which is what I think I need.
Yeah, so you can get by in English.
Okay.
And you can get by without Spanish pretty easily.
Okay. What about culture shock? Did you guys experience that, you know, after leaving your homes?
Biggest culture shock you have here is it's a very laid back lifestyle here.
Oh. So nice.
What a problem.
You know, there's a symbol when a Spanish person will tell you something, or a Mexican will tell you something that, give me a minute. You know, they'll put their thumb and forefinger together like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, momento. Momento here can be
an hour,
a minute. It can be 2 years. Time scale here is very different. You know, when someone says, "Oh, you know, I'll come work on that tomorrow," tomorrow next week, tomorrow next year. You don't know.
Got it.
That's probably the biggest culture shock. And you know, there are a lot of expats here who come down and they're type A personalities. And say, you said you were going to be here tomorrow. Why aren't you here tomorrow? You know? And, you know, but if you just go with the flow,
right,
you're relaxed, say, hey, you know, I'm retired. I don't have anything to do anyway. Big deal.
You can wait a year.
Problem.
You can wait a year.
Yeah.
And do you miss any creature comforts?
Malamars. Can you get Malamars there?
I don't know. You're going to laugh. The one thing I love that I can't get here, Rice Krispies.
No way.
I can buy Cocoa Krispies. I can buy Cinnamon Krispies. I can buy Apple Krispies. I can buy Strawberry Krispies. I can buy whatever. But the plain Rice Krispies, you cannot get here.
Why is that?
I have no idea.
They don't even have an imitation brand? There's no...
No.
Wow.
Nothing. For the most part, cereals here are all sugared cereals. And about the only cereal they sell that's not sugared is cornflakes.
Okay.
Wow.
So
what about whole grain?
So that's an idea for you, Rob. That sounds like a big money maker.
Well, it's
Rice
funny
Krispies
because
in Mexico.
You're the only one that likes Rice Krispies.
Well, interestingly enough, we have, you know, online shopping here. So we have Amazon here and we have Mercado Libre, which is basically the Amazon / eBay of Latin America. And on Mercado Libre, you can buy Rice Krispies. It's $20 a box.
Oh my goodness.
But you can get your Rice Krispies.
Okay,
so do you spend the 20 or do you
that's the subscription, Gene?
No. I either, whenever we come back to the States, everyone laughs. We pack our suitcase with Rice Krispies and bring it back. So I have it, you know, for a month or two after we come back from the States.
Have the TSA ever checked the box of that?
Nah, they don't care. Customs here doesn't care either.
You know, our son just went back to college for his last semester, and he packed a container of Slap Your Mama, which is this spice,
Cajun spice.
Cajun spice.
Okay.
And he was stopped by TSA. They thought that it could be
explosives.
Now,
powder.
I mean, look at the profile. He's a mechanical engineering student. He's half Chinese, and it was all taped up. So they untaped it, poured some out. And he's like, "Are you kidding me? I'm going to kill my mother. I'm going to kill my mother." And luckily, they let him go. They tested it. I don't know how you would test, but anyway. And but he was delayed a bit. Got on the flight though, luckily.
Yeah, right before the snowstorm.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Rice Krispie story. I love that.
But that's, a minor thing. There is an issue here with the consumer culture here is not the same as in the States.
Mm-hmm.
If you see something in the store today, it does not mean it's going to be in the store tomorrow, next week, next month. Give you a great example of this. While we were building the pool in our house, we found these beautiful lounge chairs that we loved. And we said, okay, well, we're in the middle of construction. It's a mess. We don't want to buy those lounge chairs right now.
Sure.
We're going to wait till the pool is finished. 6 weeks later, the pool was finished. We went back to the store. Oh, no, we don't have it.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, well, when are you going to get it back in? She go, about 3 months. We went back in 3 months. They still didn't have it.
Oh.
It took them 9 months before they got it back in stock.
Oh, they did get it.
They did get it. This was a product line this was a major part of their product line.
Wow.
All right. It wasn't just like, something that they carried on the side. This was central to their product line. You go in, we used to have a coffee machine, an espresso machine that ground the espresso beans.
Mm-hmm.
And Walmart had this brand, Garrett, a package of espresso beans. Have it, and then they wouldn't have it for months on end. So when they would have it, I'd buy up literally, you'd have to go in. I would go in and I'd buy everything on the shelf. I'd just take the entire shelf, put it in the basket and buy it. So I would have it because, then you could go 6 months, 9 months without them having that. And this is a Walmart. This isn't, a little rinky dink
right.
grocery store or something.
Right. It's kind of like the Costco there, right? So you have to get all the stuff, knowing that in anticipation.
Right. But this is at every store. It's not, the highest end stores will be like that as well.
Interesting.
They'll carry something and then they won't have it.
Yeah. And there's a market yet, right? So, I mean,
yes.
What's up?
So I have a question. So you moved to Mexico to retire, but you opened a bed and breakfast. Has that become a lot of work? You find it relaxing?
We opened the bed and breakfast more as a hobby than anything else. Okay. As I said, I ran the spreadsheets and all that we could live here without ever having a single guest here.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Perfect.
We bought a larger house than we need because we thought we were going to do the bed and breakfast, but we still, that was just initial capital outlay. We still planned on living totally off of other income that we wouldn't have to do the bed and breakfast. Mm-hmm. No, it hasn't been bad. Towards the end of the winter season, when we have all rooms booked for, like 3 months straight, we sort of do get tired of it.
Yeah.
Then when all the guests leave, we're like, all right, now what do we do? We're bored.
It must be fun meeting new people every week.
Yeah, it's great. Exactly why we did it. And that's why we continue to do it. That's why we enjoy doing it. Mm-hmm. It is specifically that. But, and for the most part, we have maybe 2 rooms rented at a time. Mm-hmm. And, people coming and going. So, and it's always, for the most part, meeting new people. There's not much work. We have a person who takes care of a pool. We have a person who cleans the house, The labor here is dirt cheap, so we have a handyman who takes care of fixing odds and ends.
Wow!
Yeah, you're living like kings and queens.
Yeah. Who cooks the breakfast?
Roy loves to cook.
Oh, that's
as a matter of fact,
lucky you.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and he's an excellent cook too. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, he'll sometimes even cook dinner for the guests just because he enjoys cooking.
Whoa,
Wow.
Nice.
So yeah, they get free dinner or whatever. And he cooks dinner for our neighbors. He just
Oh my
loves
goodness.
doing it. But the only fixed thing that we do is we cook breakfast every morning for the guests, quote unquote, fluff the rooms. We make the bed and check if they need new towels or anything like that. And other than that, the cleaning lady does all the cleaning. The pool person takes care of the pool and what have you. We do our own laundry, but
yeah, that's not much.
More for something to do than anything else.
Hey, was the move difficult psychologically, physically? Did you have to downsize?
No, we downsized when we moved here. Luckily, and very smart that we did, or luckily that we did. We moved down here with 6 suitcases.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
We got rid of all our furniture. Basically, we had a huge house in Oregon, gave our furniture away to kids. It's what the kids wanted. They took what the kids didn't want. We sold what we couldn't sell. We gave away to charity. All we came down here was primarily, a couple pair of jeans, bunch of shorts, flip-flops, T-shirts, and, a few nice, we brought, maybe about 5 or 6 long sleeve shirts that we had never worn. And that's a couple short sleeve dress shirts.
Okay. So there wasn't,
that's it.
Yeah, so there wasn't like any kind of sentimental attachments to things. You didn't have boxes of, I don't know, photos, all those things.
Yeah, we did. So photos, we had lots and lots and lots of photos. We live on the beach. It's humid. The photos would get ruined. Before we left, we took all the photos to a place in Brooklyn and digitized them.
Oh, which one?
DJI, I think it's called. It's on just on the Brooklyn Queens border.
Check that out, because I don't trust those places.
Oh, they were fabulous. They were absolutely fantastic.
Because our generation didn't have the smartphones back then.
Yeah. Right. So, I'm techie. So, we have a smart house. We have the Google version of the Echo Show, of the Amazon Show, the little screen that's in the kitchen and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And it's connected into Google Photos. And just the other day I was showing her, oh, look, that's my father when he was, like 8 years old, and my uncle when he was 2 years old, my grandparents, and over there are my great grandparents, photos that were scanned in and then
that was smart.
Oh, that's great.
We uploaded it all to Google.
Yeah, that's so smart. We're doing that now in anticipation.
And we got rid of all our books we had. We pretty much gave away. The coffee table books. Yeah, I guess we sort of missed that. The reading books, we just have switched to Kindle. Doing all that. Roy kept a few of his cookbooks because
loves to cook.
He likes having them. Although he now uses the online versions more than the paper books. We kept our artwork. Artwork we kept.
Okay.
Some of it we didn't bring down here because of the humidity.
Yeah.
So we have some, nice prints and stuff. We left that with our kids.
Oh, okay.
We didn't give it away. We said, look, you're holding on to this for us. If we ever move back to the States, or if we ever move to an area that's less humid, we're going to take them. But for now, you're putting them on your wall and you're keeping them.
So how often do you guys go home?
Well, before COVID, we tried to go home about 4 times a year, 3 or 4 times a year.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Or if we didn't go up there, we tried to see our families 3 to 4 times a year. Okay. So if we didn't come up, they would have come down, sort of thing.
Oh, nice.
And how's COVID now in Mexico?
Where we live, everyone walks around in a mask and, follows his social distancing. But in the town we live in, I don't think there's been a single case.
Oh,
wow.
Maybe there's been, 1 or 2 cases. That's about it. The next town over in Progreso, there's probably have had about 100 cases.
Yeah.
Maybe a handful of deaths. Merida has had a lot. Merida is a city of 1 million people. So they've had a lot. But still nothing like the States.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is the vaccine making its way through?
Supposedly. So
Yeah.
there's a website that you're supposed to be able to register to get the vaccine. And I'm still trying to get through. It's now a week that I've been trying to get through on that website to register.
You've had the same problem.
Yeah,
Joe.
I have the same problem.
I was lucky to get an appointment for a
Gene
couple.
got an appointment.
I have just a question about your town. I was reading that there's only one ATM and it's in the Navy base. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we're on a barrier island, like Long Beach Island or something like that.
Yeah.
Think of that, or the Rockaways. We're in pretty much the center of it. You go to one side, there's a town called Chuburna. It's like 7 kilometers away. You go the other direction, it's 7 kilometers away to a section called Yucatan. Yucatan is at the end where the inlet comes in, and there's a naval base there. So on that naval base, there is an ATM.
Mm-hmm.
However, since COVID started, it's not allowed to use. It's only for the naval base personnel.
Oh.
Okay.
So we have to go into Progresso to get to an ATM.
Okay.
And in Progresso, well, there's Citibank, Banamex, there's Santander, HSBC. There's a bunch of banks in Progresso with ATMs where we can get cash.
Mm-hmm.
This is a cash economy where we're at.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Especially on the beach. Grocery stores, the little food stalls and vegetable stands and all that. Most of the restaurants here only take cash, only take pesos. There are a couple that'll take credit cards, but not many. In Merida, everyone takes credit cards. In Progresso, it's about 50-50. The larger restaurants will take credit cards. The smaller ones won't.
Hey, Rob, would you consider where you are elder friendly?
Yes. Well, first of all, everyone here is old. That's not true. That's not really true. There are actually a lot of young families here, young expat families, which is strange because, kids with families with small kids, and you're like, really? You're putting them in the Mexican school system? I mean, they're private schools too, but it's I don't know. I don't quite agree with it. Let's leave it at that. Okay. The rest of us are all pretty much retirees. Where we live, the roads are pretty much dirt roads. So picking a wheelchair on isn't the easiest thing. Of course, in Progresso, it's all, asphalt, regular cement and all that. So it's not an issue in Progresso. People will build houses here, which are, have full accessibility. It's not really an issue.
Okay. And mostly ranch or single story.
Yeah. A lot of people build a second story to get the view of the ocean if they're not right on the ocean. Mm-hmm. And some people build a second story even on the ocean to get better wind. Higher up, you get more wind flowing through. But a lot of it, most of it here is single story, and most people just build single story.
So tell us, did the city meet or not meet your expectations?
It exceeded our expectations. And when I'm talking about city, I'm talking about Merida. Mm-hmm. This is embarrassing. We came here, we flew into Cancun, we rented a car, and we drove to Chelem. And we had no idea that there was this city of 1 million people called Merida, because we took a highway, a toll road that's as good as any toll road in the States, from Cancun to the outskirts of Merida, at which point there was a ring road, again, a highway, same as in any city in the United States. We went on that ring road. It's called the Periférico. And then we took the highway from the north end of the ring road up to Chelem. So we never went into this. It was later in the evening. We never went into Merida. We didn't even know it existed, other than the sign said, Merida straight ahead, Progresso, make a right.
Oh, no.
So, when we found out that, there is a city here, and Oh, wow.
I have two
actually a
words for
big
you.
City.
I have two words. Google Earth.
Yeah, well, like I said,
Yeah, techie.
well, and then we came in and, when you're coming in from the north, the first thing you hit is a big shopping mall,
Ooh.
a Galleria shopping mall with an ice skating rink in the middle of it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then you have Costco, and then you have Home Depot, and then you have Chili's, and then you have Fridays.
And you're like, I'm not in Mexico.
Exactly. Sears, and then another shopping mall. And then you drive into the centro, the old part of town, which the city was founded in 1548 or something, 1565. Wow. It's a really old historic city. So we were like, wow, there's culture, there's all this stuff, plus all these conveniences.
Nice.
Yeah.
At $20,000 a year. Uh-huh. Can you tell us about the entertainment scene? Museums,
okay, so
things like that.
Let's start with movies. Movies, we get all first-run movies from the States in English with Spanish subtitles.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The movie theaters here are for $2 you go into the regular movie theater.
Okay.
For $4 you go into the Platino theater. The Platino theater, first of all, has food and drink served to your chair. Ooh. Power reclining chairs.
Wow. Yeah.
And because it's overly air conditioned and you're wearing shorts and a t-shirt, to give you blankets to keep you warm.
Wow.
Okay. All for $4. For $4 for
man.
a first run movie.
This is in Merida or Progresso?
In Merida. This is in Merida.
Okay.
Progresso has a movie theater as well, but they don't have the Platino one, the VIP stuff. Then there's opera and there's symphony. Every Sunday there's a symphony in Merida, and they have a performance every Sunday. Actually, they have it twice a week. They have they put on about 4 operas a year, maybe 5 operas a year.
Nice.
The only issue, of course, with the opera is that, like, you go to the Met or something, and on the seat it has the libretto in English, telling you the story in English.
Mm-hmm.
Here, they have it, but it's in Spanish.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Doesn't do you much good, but it's a classic 1800s opera house. It's spectacular.
Wow.
Really beautiful. There is theater.
Mm-hmm.
But the theater's in Spanish, so we never go.
Okay.
What about sports? Is there a soccer team in Merida?
There's actually a baseball team in Merida.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's nothing. It's not. There's no major sports. There is probably the most major sport they have in Merida is baseball. There's soccer fields all over the place. There, local soccer teams playing all the time. Baseball is the only sport that, spectator sport typically that you would have in Merida.
Wow.
Okay. So, Gene, ESPN for you, okay?
Yeah, and we get all that. We have a Fire Stick.
Yeah.
And so we get all the US TV stations and stuff like that.
Right. I feel like you're in Brooklyn, actually, to be honest.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, we are.
Yeah.
And it's safe. Merida was rated as like the 5th safest city in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
This whole area is rated as the #1 place to retire to.
Yeah.
Because of the safety, because of the low cost of living.
Yeah.
I mean, we do have crime, but the crime is petty crime. It's like people will break into a house and steal a laptop or an iPad.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's about it.
Wow.
Final question. What advice would you have for prospective retirees going down this road, especially moving abroad? You recommend it?
Yeah, but rent for a year. #1 recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
Do not come down here and buy something right away. You'll be sorely tempted to because of the pricing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Come, rent a place for a year, and see if you like it. It's not for everyone. As I said, it's hot and humid 10 months out of the year. The sun is really strong. Yes, it's inexpensive. Yes, there's lots to do, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. And you might decide that, the beach looks really nice and it's fun to vacation, but I don't want to live on the beach. I want to live in the city, or I want to live a few rows back from the water so I don't have to deal with this salt air hitting everything and all that sort of stuff and the constant maintenance because of it. The number one thing is come try it out. It's inexpensive to come and try out. You can come for 6 months on a tourist visa.
Sure.
Rent a place and get the feel for it before committing to moving down here.
Okay.
Interesting. You said it was hot. Do you go in the pool every day?
Not in the winter, but yes, in the summer. As a matter of fact, in the summer, our pool gets so hot that it's too hot to go in the pool. We go into the Gulf.
What? No.
We go into the ocean. Yeah.
Oh.
Our pool reaches about 96, 97 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe that. I never knew that. Okay, so your B&B is fully air conditioned, yes?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. Just in case, our listeners ask.
There are people who get acclimated. We haven't, but there are expats
I'm not one of them.
Who get acclimated.
Never.
And they live in here without air conditioning.
Yeah,
We
I've
have
heard of those
friends
people.
who live here without air conditioning.
Yeah, they're strange.
Yeah. I guess so.
Okay, great. Wow, this has been wonderful.
Yeah, you
wonderful.
were wonderful. Thank you so much.
We've taken so much of your time.
Oh,
and
no problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, this was really, really great. We'll catch up with you soon. Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah, we may book a place.
Yeah. We're going to send you some dates.
Okay.
All right. Say hi to Roy.
Will do. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed our show. If you know of someone who relocated for retirement and wishes to share their story, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is gg@retirethere.com. Our website is retirethere.com, and you may follow us on Twitter @retirethere_. Don't leave out that underscore. And if you liked our show, please subscribe and rate it in Apple Podcasts. We'd really appreciate it. In the meantime, be well